Okay, we're going to look at putting a slightly older baby in a stretchy wrap. One of the most common questions, or most common stages you see parents at, is when they're transitioning from a newborn in a stretchy wrap to a slightly older baby in a stretchy wrap. Now the question is usually, I need to move on to something else because my stretchy wrap isn't suitable for my baby anymore. They want to look up and around, they don't want to be so constricted, they want to be part of what's going on, they don't want to be asleep in a carrier all the time. So by all means switch for something else, but also we can give you a little bit more life in your stretchy wrap with these hints and tips. So we're going to start off by tying it on in the same way. Get your middle marker in the middle on your chest, hold it on with your chin, and we're going to cross the carrier on the back just by grabbing the top edges like that and bring it back over your shoulders like a skipping rope. The carrier should fit you fairly firmly like a cami top from you just above your belly button to just above your bust. And grab those two long dangly ends and post them through from the top to the bottom. There we go. So this should look like a capital H shape on your chest. Shouldn't be restricting your arms or dangling down. I'm going to work on getting it nice and snug and tight. Remember, the heavier your baby is, the more there will weight a stretchy cloth down. When your baby is light, you actually need to leave them a little bit more space than when they get a little bigger. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab that carrier very close to my neck and I'm just going to pull up towards the sky and then pass it down, follow it down underneath that H shape and pull it away, and I'm going to do the same on the outer edge, so just up towards the sky, just like that, and then get that slap and pull it down there for me. So when we're putting our tension in that capital H, what we need to do is pull on it a little bit, cross it at the belly button, just keeping that tension in that cloth. Don't pull it down there to tie, but nice and high up above your hips if you can. Cross it again on the back and then just come back to the front to tie it away. Double knot for me like that. So we're going to test the way the carrier fits by just popping our hands inside that carrier all the way from our shoulders together. We're in like a praying position, and we're just going to move it down and put your forearms in that cloth. When your forearms are in the cloth, they're a decent approximation of a baby's weight, and they can help to tell you where your baby's bum is going to sit without any nasty surprises. So if your hands are up here, you're not going to fit a baby in there. If your hands are down around your knees, then it's not going to feel very supportive. So we're going to go grab a slightly older baby. Okay. So your stretchy wrap can't be on too tight. A multi-way stretch like this one, which stretches in all directions, will only ever be too high. Baby will be high up above your, next to your mouth and nose, without feeling like you've got any space to breathe. Okay, so I'm just going to slide baby's leg in, and I'm going to leave it at baby's knee. That's important. Slide the baby over to the other shoulder and hand underneath, so baby's sitting in the cross, and leave it at baby's knee. Again, that's important. Why is it important? Because when baby sits down on that cloth like that, what that does is bring baby's knees up. When baby's knees come up, baby gets a better view at the other end. When baby's knees are dangled down, it pushes their head into your chest and they get understandably quite cross. So we'll let our baby sit down in that cloth, in that capital M shape, with the cloth at the back of the knee and the cloth at the back of the knee, and just let them sit there for a second. Don't underestimate the importance of just holding on to baby during the process, just to make sure that they're nice and comfortable and they're not going anywhere, and just give them a pat and a bit of a soothe. All that's doing is replacing that hand that has to sit underneath baby's bottom. So don't be afraid to spend 10 seconds in this position, just getting them settled in. When you're ready to pull the cloth across baby's back, okay, we're just going to grab that inside edge, and that inside edge, I mean the kind of edge that's closest to your neck. If you pull the cloth over baby's back, the bit that's close to your neck, it will be close to their neck as well. However, if we do exactly the opposite on the other side and bring the bit that's closest to my shoulder, it will give them more space for their shoulders, just at the top there like that. So we can already see it made a twist on purpose, which is giving the baby a lot more space inside that stretchy wrap. You can do the same on both sides if you want to, so you've got it both sides. And what that does is it gives baby the feeling of having their arms out, but still gives them support at the back of the head just there. So they feel like they've got more freedom, but actually they're nice and tucked in and supported. Okay, you can also see that it brings the support in that line across the back of their head, and it keeps their knee up nice and snug at the back here with that lovely line there, and just stops you from feeling like you need to leave your hand on the back of baby's head all of the time. Okay, you can see their legs are still in that same position, in that capital M shape. So there's one last bit to do as we roll the carrier up baby's back, and it's this bit just here, it's the bit that's highest up underneath your arm. If you just put your thumb in your armpit and roll your thumb all the way down, it's the first bit you'll find, and you hook your thumb all the way through that cloth so the thumb pokes out of the bottom. Now you shouldn't be able to pull it all the way out and away from baby over both legs at once, that shows that your carrier's not tight enough, but just over one leg, and then the same at the other side, over the other leg, just like that. Alright, so the key to baby's head position is to get their legs sturdy and seated, and in that really sturdy capital M shape. So as we roll that carrier up baby's back, make sure that you don't pull it so far that it comes away from baby's legs. So what we're going to do instead is make sure that we leave some underneath baby's bottom. In fact, if you want to grab the bottom edge of the cloth and tuck it all the way up in between your bodies, then do. It will help to create a nice deep seat for the baby in there, nice and snug. Alright, so you can see how the flip gives baby a lot more space. They don't have to have their head tucked in, they don't have to be asleep. If you do feel like they want to be untucked, another thing you can do on this side, if you just roll your hand underneath that cloth, we can create a very similar effect to what's happening on that side, just by grabbing that inside edge and just rolling the cloth down on my shoulder and spreading it out. So there we go. We've got a lot more space for our baby in one side. We've got a lot more space for our baby in at the other side. If I roll that down, you'll see that that cross on baby's back is still very high, so it's doing all the supporting that it needs to do. And that line just shows you that it's bringing the support in at the back of baby's head very, very well. If I tuck my thumbs back in the top and bring that back up, there we go. Now baby can have their hands up and out if they prefer. If you want to bring it all the way down so they can have their hand out, that's fine as well. You will know if they need extra head support and you will put your hand at the back of their head, but if you feel strongly that you need to be hands free, just take yourself a muslin square or equivalent, tea towel will do if you don't have a muslin square, and just roll that into the top. Always make sure it's not popping out from underneath baby's bottom. If you roll that into the top, it gives them some head support, again without feeling too enclosing. One of the last things that you can do if you want to give baby a better view, nice and snug, if you just roll that up and away just for a second and roll your hands inside onto baby's bottom here and here, so you can see my hands moving around on baby's bottom, rather alien-esque way. If we support babies with the front of our hands and move the cloth with the back of our hands, we can move the baby around into a slightly off-centered position very effectively, just by pushing on that cloth and wiggling away to the side just like that before removing our hands, completing the pelvic tuck, and then just rolling that last little bit back down again and tucking it up in between our bodies if you want to. There we go. So we've moved our baby into an off-centered front carry, so baby's out towards the side, which is a nice one for a shared view if you feel like baby's feeling a bit too stuck on you. One of the very last things we can do, because I thought of another one, if we roll our hands back in and onto baby's bottom again, we can wiggle them back in to a centered position. There we are. One of the very last things we can do, if we're struggling with a wrap that's very lightweight, very stretchy, or a baby that's very strong and prone to pulling their legs down like that. As you can see, when those legs go down, baby's head goes down, they get very cross about it, so we always want to lift those legs with support from the back of the knee to the back of the knee if we can. If you take the last end of the wrap just here, be very careful of course when you're undoing your knot and make sure you're holding onto it with both hands. If you take that over, you can add that as an extra layer, either in a rope-like pass like that, so you cross it around and come around to the back just to finish it off and really make your carry feel very, very snug and secure. Or you can spend time to spread that cloth if you want to, and it gives a whole second layer, and it brings that baby's bottom very, very close to you, which mimics the way we naturally carry an arm, tucking their bum very close and allowing them a little more upper body freedom from there. If you add that extra cross, you do lose the ability to just pop the baby in and out, so when you're ready to come out, you just slide it down here and you slide it down here before baby's ready to come out. Take your muslin square away, roll that carrier down to just underneath baby's bottom, just here, and the same on that side to just there, and the same to just here. Tuck your thumbs underneath baby's armpits and we'll just lift baby straight up in the sky. Thank you.